Hello and welcome to pre-season testing ahead of the 2028 Formula 1 season. It's been a long winter, so let's see who is looking strong ahead of the new season. Ferrari come into 2028 off the back of a perfect season in 2027, doing the double for the first time since 2007 as Brown comes into this year as defending world champion after an epic battle with teammate Leclerc. Leclerc knows the areas to improve and where the championship was lost last season, highlighting Monaco, Silverstone and Belgium, along with of course that last lap in Abu Dhabi. Ferrari look to have the car once again this season with good reliability and topping the final 2 days of testing after experimenting on day one with different setups, but still second in the times. McLaren were in no man's land in 2027 as they finished 232 points off Ferrari in the constructors and 98 ahead of P3 Williams. They believe they have taken steps forward over the winter to close in on Ferrari and win their first drivers' championship since Lewis Hamilton in 2008 with either Lando or Oscar, and the first constructors' championship since 2024. They topped the first day of testing and were consistently lapping within hundredths of Ferrari, finishing the final 2 days P2. Many in the paddock believe that it could be a two-team battle for the championship this season with the pace of that McLaren and Ferrari. Williams finished 2027 strong after a big mid-season upgrade meant they won the Austrian Grand Prix and were consistently fighting towards the front for the rest of the season. Both Carlos and Alex are hoping that this is a car that can challenge the Ferraris and McLarens, but they look to be off the pace of the top two, but are looking good for best of the rest this season. They were P3 on day one, but focus on long run pace on the final 2 days of testing. Is this the car that takes Williams back to the top? Apex went into 2027 as defending constructors champions, but never had the car to defend the title as they finished 4th, 393 points off Ferrari. The team believe they have found the answers to last season's struggles, but the times would suggest they still have a lot of work to do as they look in the fight for best of the rest and a long way off the pace of the Ferrari, but they could well be sandbagging. It was rumoured that Brown was going to join Apex from Ferrari, but the team couldn't guarantee Brown a championship challenging car, so negotiations fell through. Mercedes took a big step forward in 2027, jumping from P6 in 2026 to P5 in 2027. They are still miles off their glory days in the first years of the V6 era, not even breaking triple digits, only scoring 92 points. They're hoping to take another big step forward this season, but they look to be in a battle with the Williams and the Apex this season unless they can unlock more performance in the car. Red Bull had another tough season in 2027, finishing P6 in the constructors for a second year in a row as they struggled to find a good balance in the car all season, which looks once again to be their thorn in their side this season as the car was understeering and oversteering through every corner and was undrivable, which meant the drivers were struggling. They look like they have fallen into the midfield battle and have fallen away from the likes of Williams and Mercedes, but can they fix their car and get back to where they want to be? Aston Martin had a disappointing season in 2027 after a promising start after Max Verstappen won the Japanese Grand Prix. They fell away into the midfield as they were outdeveloped by the teams around them, losing out on P6 in the constructors by 1 single point to Red Bull, missing out on prize money that could well have helped them develop the car further over the winter. This season's car looks difficult to drive as even Max was struggling. They thought they were going to be strong this season, but data from the track isn't lining up with their wind tunnel data, which was making the car unpredictable, which led to them finishing slowest on the final day of testing as they looked for answers to improve the car before the first race. Esteban Ocon was frustrated with the lack of progress in the car after a couple of seasons as they dropped from P8 to P9 in the constructors, so Ocon decided not to renew his contract and has left the team to be replaced by Bortoleto after he was out of contract at Sauber. Bortoleto said he is excited excited to join Haas and take the team forward in the coming months and years as he signed a multi-year deal. They look well to be in the midfield battle once again this season, so it may well be another long season for them. Albi had a better season in 2027 compared to recent years, but only improved up to P9 from P10 in the Constructors last season. But they have looked like they've lost ground over the winter as they were slowest on the first 2 days of testing, having multiple issues with the car, both setup and reliability. It could be a long season for them once again. RB, after their best season in 2026, finishing P4 and ahead of the sister Red Bull team, fell off a cliff as they dropped to P10 as their oldest and most experienced driver lineup doesn't seem to be working after they went the wrong way on development. They believe they know where they went wrong and have improved the car for this season. The times would suggest a different story, as they were towards the bottom of the times throughout the test, finishing highest of P8 on the first day of testing. Sauber once again finished bottom of the championship in 2027, scoring only 12 points, which means they improved on last season by 11 points. However, they have gone with a brand new driver lineup this season as Ocon joins from Haas, which many see as a step backwards, but Ocon said he was impressed with the project at the team. Sauber have also signed Lance Stroll after he left Aston Martin at the end of 2026 and having to have a year out of the sport. Since Audi pulled out of the F1 project, they have struggled for funds, and having Stroll's backing will help them to improve. This year's car looks slow once again, but with Stroll's backing and two very experienced drivers, the future could be good for the team. F1 announced another 16 race calendar ahead of the 2028 season. We begin here in Bahrain before we go to Jeddah, then we go to Europe as we go racing once again at Imola, then it's Monaco and then Canada, and then we head to Austria and Silverstone, where unlike past seasons we will be racing in the right direction. Then we have our first sprint weekend at Spa before we return to Hungary for the closing race of the first half of the season. We then return to Zandvoort, where we will be racing in reverse once again. Then we go to Monza, then we return to Baku, then it's Singapore, our second sprint weekend in Brazil. Then we head to the States for the Las Vegas Grand Prix, and then we round the 2028 season under the lights of Abu Dhabi and hopefully another incredible title decider. That's it for testing. We know a rough order of the grid. It's looking close up the top and the midfield, but who will finish on top? You'll have to come back and find out when we go racing here in Bahrain and begin our championship defence. Goodbye.